As a heads up, this is going to be a yap session with only one part where I would like you to look at the screen, but that is optional if you are willing to take me at my word. Of course, any pauses or moments of silence is either me loading or actually taking a breath. Other than that, let's get into the video. So to start this off, I'm not doing this just to fuel a hate train on Borderlands 4. Instead, I actually enjoy it, and I'm wanting to critique parts where I believe it has gone wrong so it can refine and better itself. Since a list is usually what I don't read off, this may be a little bit chaotic, but I have made one, and I'm going to read off these perceived flaws, and hopefully, just hopefully, not only do people agree, but maybe this can reach somebody with a larger voice and a bigger audience than I. Let's get started. No dedicated drops for legendary enhancements. While there's still time to rectify this, it hurts to not have a dedicated drop source for these right out the game. No codex of any sort. While every game does it differently, a codex for enemies and gear drop locations would have been a great addition instead of having to pause and pull up the information on a browser. Class mod and enhancement perk bloat. Example: why choose swap or ADS speed over most forms of raw damage, or other universal perks like magazine size and fire rate? Most of these perk combinations just lead to the 3 stat bonuses you roll on enhancements to be garbage on a frequency that is far too high. Most legendary weapons have poor damage or are too conditional. While we may consider different weapons that do not have enough damage, when it comes to weapons that are too conditional, weapons like the Linebacker, Lead Balloon, and Cold Shoulder come to mind, where their legendary perk actually get in the way of effective combat. And as a special place in my box of sad outcomes is the King's Gambit, having a poor detection radius, but also an internal cooldown. It does not aim for the critical location or force a critical hit either. I had the idea, when we first got it, to chuck it in the air and spray at it with a Lucian's flank. Unfortunately, that idea cannot come to pass as it is right now. A lot of these weapons need a lot of TLC. Weapon damage varies way too much from just base damage to other base damage comparisons. This can happen to every weapon and every legendary, where the damage stat on 2 variants of the same weapon type from the same manufacturer can vary so wildly it's laughable. I was able to find 2 Jacobs assault rifles that show just how extreme this case can be. I'll put it on the screen right now. Weapon underbarrel attachments also still deal way more damage than most weapons' base firing mode. Unless the base damage of a weapon is very, very high, almost any underbarrel attachment will outshine it every day of the week. Ragdolling enemies. With staggers being universal from crits and melees, there are also knockdowns and ragdolls, not only being a form of crowd control, but as another way to interact with enemies. So you'd think there'd be a healthy amount of weapons that capitalize on this exclusive way to torment anything not labeled as a boss. Nope. As far as I have found, the only things that have this are the potato thrower, Jacob's rifles, both sniper and assault, and the zip rocket underbarrels. You'd think the heavy gun ordnance would have this as well, but no. Grapple points are underutilized. To be honest, I was really hoping there would be more grappling in general, not just to higher locations, but for things like launching yourself, or having multiple grapple points lined up to swing like Spider-Man. Little Boy and I only found 2 locations like this, by the way, through the entire map. I know we haven't unlocked everything, but this is ridiculous. On top of this, why don't we have a legendary grenade that makes a grapple point? That would have been such an easy win. Legendary heavy weapon ordnance, for some reason, has fixed parts. And I don't know why this is even a thing. Besides the element, almost every heavy weapon ordnance is copy and paste. There are no extra parts that can roll, maybe a small stats difference if you're lucky, but that is literally it. And that is something I'm not enthused about, and I can only imagine how much of a letdown this was for other players who actually enjoy heavy ordnance. No loadouts. With most builds seeming to be very focused into a few weapons at a time, but the amount of weapons in the game is supposed to be large, running back to the respec machine every time you want to switch things up feels so archaic. Other games today have loadouts for a reason. Even the lamentable Destiny 2 implemented loadouts, so time wasted swapping gear pieces was cut substantially. Phosphenes are underwhelming. They have a rainbow skin. That's it. The most disrespectful part of this is when you do get a phosphene and it's a bad roll. Low damage or no desirable extra parts. What a way to waste a rare drop. Make them rarer for all I care, but I think if a phosphene drops, it should either be a straight god roll or at least have a stats boost on top. Swimming was wasted. Swimming didn't do much in the game. I thought there was going to be anything with it. Maybe being able to dive underneath the surface and engage in underwater battles. But no, you just skim the surface, and that's it. Up next is what I'm going to say take with a grain of salt, because I have not experienced this yet myself, but I have read in the comment sections of other videos. First up, bank SDUs are not shared. I can understand the ammo SDUs being character exclusive, but the bank SDU just sounds like a bit of a, I don't know, stub of the toe. Up next is the fast travel points when you make a new character. Supposedly there is an option, I haven't tried it yet because I'm still playing as Rafa, where you can start a character at level 30 if I heard right, with at least some progress or the main campaign completed. But all the fast travel points are not activated, which just seems redundant and a little annoying. While I personally would not find it too bad to do that myself, I know other people also have a life, a job, and a schedule they need to keep a tight grip on. Now the one that really chaps me is the specialization points not being shared across characters. After reaching level 50 and then having to regrind all of that, that does not sound really good. At least to me. Now I get it, once you get the XP on that character it's never going away, so it's only a matter of time, but like come the hell on. This is just not really making it sound all that enticing to even start another character. The last part is one I think is a little more personal on my side, and I don't really know if it's going to mess with everybody else in the game as much as it does me. And that is what I'm going to call kinetic supremacy. With UVH5 having the elemental match or mismatch damage escalating so high and being reduced so low when you succeed or fail at matching damage types, honestly, I've been finding it easier to just stay with kinetic weapons as they get no benefit but no detriment. Having to swap from element to element to element when you're in a multi-type fight just sounds like so much of a slog. I know I was drawn to kinetic weapons in the first place, but this really feels like I dodged a bullet. I've seen how much the damage difference is when Little Boy was testing a one-shot build, and he turned the resistance on, and oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. While I was getting ready to add the finishing touches on editing, I actually just remembered a few more things I wanted to put in this video. First off, this is one I've had since Borderlands 3, but why has Borderlands in general moved away from the heavy comic book art style of Borderlands 2? I actually enjoyed that, and I have just not seen any explainable or good reason for them to have moved away from it. The next one, again, another personal tiff here, is what is with the constant redesigns of the Iridians. This is getting pretty ridiculous, and their architecture keeps swapping more than most of my excuses in a bad lie. The final one, and possibly one that I've found severely annoying, but not game-breaking unfortunately, is how accuracy affects gun accuracy, but so does handling affect accuracy and projectile velocity. I almost screwed up and said accuracy 3 times in a row. But why are there 2 ways to fiddle with accuracy, and one of them also fiddles with projectile velocity at the same time? This is a major question I've had, and I still don't understand it. But other than that, now that I'm done just going on about all this, hopefully if anybody agrees with this, they can share it to another person, like it, whatever. I would want this to get more traction so actually it can be seen, echoed, and heard by larger people rather than just trying to get me some attention. Other than that, this is the end of the video.